everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Madeleine Interviews Artists. I have an amazing up and coming jazz artist called Zara Britton with me here today. So for anyone that doesn't know your style, your background, your music, tell everyone what Zara Britton is about.
I'm a jazz singer. I'm currently studying at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama, and I also play the double bass. So I've mostly been doing like jazz pop covers where I basically take a pop song and turn it into like a jazzy style. And then I'm also releasing original music, which is exciting.
Let's have a chat about that. Let's talk about your debut single by
Yeah.
That is wonderful, and it takes you on such an unexpected journey as well. It starts off so soft and jazz club, beautiful vibes, and then by the end, you really open up your voice. The whole instrumental section, it gets so huge and phenomenal. Yeah, talk to me about the process of writing that song.
So it's like, I think for me, it was like I was writing it as a concept. Like, usually when I'm writing, I sort of think about like emotions, and that's where I start from, like a situation or experience. But for this song, it was more like a concept, when you see someone else at the other side of the room and you sort of get a vibe between you and you sort of feel like it's reciprocated. And it was just about that concept, really, and knowing that the other person's feeling the same. But I guess the song sort of takes you on a journey where at the start you're not so sure, you're feeling these emotions, but it's quite subtle, and then it builds and you realize it's just as strong the other end. So yeah, I wrote that in my uni accommodation. I was just sort of hanging around and it just came to me in my head. And I started with the melody. And then I sort of added the chords, and yeah, it sort of gradually came together from there. Added some extra instruments with the producer, and yeah.
So what was the actual recording process like for you? Were you recording in your bedroom? Were you recording in a studio? How did that all come together?
My double bass teacher, like I had lessons with him since I was about 12, and I always was playing classical stuff with him. And then I ended up just wanting to jazz jam. And so our lessons ended up just us jamming together. And then we've sort of had like a professional relationship come from that because we just such enjoyed playing together. He actually produced my first song, which was really like a full circle moment. And so it was at his home studio, which is just a lovely little space. And yeah, we're just really collaborative, which was really nice because obviously we've worked together for so long, it just felt really like natural and safe.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Together for that. So, how important would you say then the process of collaboration is for you in your songwriting and performing in general?
Definitely big. Like I love working with people. I think like one of the biggest joys of being a musician is the fact that we can, work with whoever we want and just all contribute ideas. So I love to work with as many musicians as possible. Like with him, he's a multi-instrumentalist, and so he was able to add like guitar, he was able to do some of the piano bits, and it was just so nice to sort of have that space where we were both sort of back and forward with ideas. Like it was my melody, my lyrics and chords as well. But then he just helped, like take it to the next level where you add the extra instruments and bring the vibes to like what you want it to be.
Oh wow, that's so beautiful that that all just sort of came together. And at the end of that song, right, it's such a shock to the listener. Like
Yeah.
when I've listened to that song a couple of times, like you sort of settle into it. It tricks you at the beginning. You're like, oh, this is going to be a really, really nice, relaxing,
hmm
jazzy tune. And then you get towards the end and it's just such like a euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about the end section of that song, how that instrumentation all came about, and yeah, whose idea was that?
Well, I think it kind of grew in the studio. Like I came with a song of vocals, a bit of like bass ideas and also the piano part. But I hadn't really like envisioned where it was going to go further than that. I just wanted to lay down the track, see how it sounded, see if it needed anything more. And I really like the sort of subtle feel. And then as it goes into the second verse, you've got a bit more like bass line and it gets a bit jazzier. And then that final build, I didn't even write the bridge before the session where we recorded it. And we got there and that bridge just sort of came to us at the time. It just sort of escalated. And I just felt it was like a nice completion to the story. So the instruments got louder and I started belting where I hadn't belted before in the song. And yeah, it just sort of came to like a really nice conclusion where I felt like it was like this euphoric, like you said, moment when you realize that you're both just as passionate.
Mm. What is your songwriting process like then? Because I'm hoping that we're going to see so much more music from you. I can't believe you've only got one song. It's like you listen to that and it's like, no, give me more. So, but I can imagine you've got so much in the works. So, talk to me about your songwriting process in general. How do songs come about for you?
So I think it sort of varies. Like with that first song, it was mostly just my idea in my bedroom, and it came to me, and then I was like, okay, this I like this. Let's take it to the studio. The other songwriting that I've been doing for the stuff that's in the works is more co-writing. So that's been a sort of collaborative experience working with songwriters and producers. So there's definitely songs in the works, but no release dates or anything yet. But I think I'm sort of heading to a more like my first song was jazzy. It had a lot of jazz influence, but I really want to take it more jazzy, add some brass. And I feel like finding my sound properly is where I'm headed to the more jazzy zone.
I mean, as much as like we desperately, desperately want more music from you, it is so important to take your time and to
Mhm.
find, as you just said, then to find your sound and to not rush. And in all of these interviews I'm doing, actually, that seems to be a bit of a through line that
Yeah.
everyone says of like find the right people to work with and take your time to find your collaborators and to find your sound. But I also want to know a bit about your journey into music because you're so accomplished and you're only at university still. So, yeah, what was your introduction into music?
So my mum is a music teacher, which I guess is like a big influence. But I started playing piano since I was maybe six, I think. And I only did classical for piano. So when it comes to jazz, I'd much rather work with other pianists because I just don't have that improvising knowledge. But I have the ability to play chords, which is enough to songwrite, and it gives me that capability. But yeah, so I played classical piano, and then I wanted to pick up a second instrument with my mum as well because she was like, "Oh, why don't you try something a bit different?" And I was like, "What's an instrument that's like really wacky? You don't see many people playing it." And I was like, "Oh, what about the double bass?" So I went to try playing it like a trial lesson, and I just like instantly fell in love with it. And I thought it was so cool. I could literally fit in the case at that age. Like I could lie down in it. It was amazing. And I was just like, "Oh, jazz is where like I'm headed, I think." Because it's sort of the combination of singing and playing, you really get that jazzy feel. And then like listening to people like Ray has really inspired me with her like huge orchestra, and Amy Winehouse has always been a big inspiration for me. So it's sort of like hearing those artists, and hopefully I can head into a place where I can front a big band with singing and double bass. Like that's sort of like the goal with my own music. But yeah, studying at the Royal Welsh College has been amazing because I'm literally doing a degree in jazz, which is just like the best thing. I just like I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do really. So it's just sort of like progressing through the years with that and taking knowledge from the tutors and collaborating with the people around me because I mean last year I literally lived in a house of eight musicians and just getting so much inspiration from each other that it's just like it helps you push you into the right direction for you.
You've got such a bright future. Definitely, like every single video that I see on my like TikTok for you page of you singing and playing your double bass, it's so captivating. It's such a unique image as well.
Oh,
Like you've really got that going for you and that you're so memorable because of the image. And I can totally see you fronting a huge orchestra like that one day.
no.
And it's lovely as well to see so many more women nowadays as well, like taking center stage in those big musical spaces as a player. Because historically we've always had, female vocalists, but female musicians and instrumentalists have often taken a bit of a back step in those big bands and orchestras. So, yeah, it's lovely to see, a musician as yourself taking up that space and just being like, yeah, I am the front runner here. It's just beautiful. One thing about, jazz in particular that I really want to tackle on my page is that it is very male dominated. And sometimes as a woman in those spaces, you can feel quite suffocated because there's a lot of men thinking that they know best. So,
Definitely.
yeah. So talk to me about your experiences as a woman in the jazz fields.
Yeah, I think it is very male dominated, but I feel that my college particularly is very like diverse and everyone's quite understanding. You're obviously going to come across people that think that, they might know everything, or like especially, the jazz police. It's like my covers are not particularly like what the big jazz lovers would classify as like cool. I love it and it's what makes me happy. And the musicians that enjoy that with me also love that. Like I work with a saxophonist and a pianist all the time, and we've started doing more gigs as a trio where we're doing like the jazzy covers of the pop songs. And we all just believe that like a good song is a good song. And like no matter what you do with it, it's nice that everyone's doing something different. Not everyone wants to be fully jazz, not everyone wants to be fully pop. If you find a little niche for you, then like I think everyone should just support each other in the direction that they've found and that makes them comfortable.
So, do you see your own music then progressing to be this mixture of jazzy, pop, lots of different influency sounds?
I think so, yeah. Like I love jazz and then jazz will always be like the focal point, I think, for my music. But I also like love a lot of pop singers. Like Ray, I guess, is sort of in the middle, isn't she? And that sort of vibe I find just amazing. And like Esperanza Spalding, how she's doing the singing and playing double bass. Those inspirations will definitely take me in a slightly pop direction as well.
I mean, your voice as well, it's so versatile because you definitely do have those like jazzy lilts to it, and you've got such like a warm tone to your voice. But then your storytelling always really comes through, and I think that's so integral for pop music. So yeah, talk to me about your singing. Have you had any singing training? What's your singing journey been like?
I've always like sung in choirs, so I guess I've got a bit of classical like experience with that, sight reading and also musical theatre. Like at my old school, I used to love doing all the shows. I did Little Shop of Horrors, where I played Audrey, and then I did Oliver, where I played Nancy. And so there's a lot of like musical theatre love in there as well, which I guess may be responsible for the storytelling. But I think, do you know when I did the gig with PostModern Jukebox, they are just all about performance as well, which I think is really nice to sort of like, because sometimes in jazz it's sort of like low key, but I like to sort of take up the stage and really give a performance with my face as well as much as I can. I mean, it's kind of hard when I'm singing and playing double bass at the same time to fully be out for the audience, but I try as much as I can because I think people really connect when they're seeing you smile or seeing you tell a story with your face. But yeah, I've had singing lessons. I'm trying to think when I started them, maybe like 13. Now I have one-to-one coaching at my college, so that's really nice because it's sort of teaching me about scat as well, which is super fun.
Oh, cool. That's so interesting to know. And yeah, I definitely wanted to come on to the Postmodern Jukebox event. So that's a great segue into it. Yeah, so how did that all come about and what was that whole experience like?
Well, it was just amazing because like I've literally loved their music for the longest time. And I was just playing my covers and posting them on TikTok. And they did a video with Kate Davis, who sang and played double bass for All About the Bass. And I remember watching that video when I was younger and just thinking it was like the coolest thing ever. And then I did a cover of it in a gig in September. And then they commented and they were like, oh, it sounds fantastic. And I was like, oh my goodness, like they know I exist. This is crazy. They messaged me and I had a Zoom call with Scott Bradley, who's like the founder of the band. And he was super lovely. And he was just saying that they're coming to Cardiff and I might get to meet the band when I'm there. And I was super excited because obviously connecting with those musicians who I respect so highly was like the most exciting thing for me. And then like a couple months later, he was like, actually, would you like to be a special guest? And I was just like, wow. But it was incredible because I got to go to the new theatre in Cardiff. So I got to meet them, rehearse with them, and then I played All About the Bass as like a big ensemble encore number at the end. And it was just like it was so much fun. I really got a buzz. When you get those feelings, I feel like they're somewhat rare, but you get that feeling after you performed. They're like, that's where you're meant to be, that's what you're meant to be doing. And I was on a high for like 2 days afterwards because I was just like, that felt right for me.
I mean, you are totally meant to be touring the world with bass and a huge orchestra. That is like definitely in your future. Yeah, what was that like performing with such a big band? What did you learn from performing with those other very experienced instrumentalists?
I think it was just like the professionalism and also the how much they were enjoying it. Like you could see that everyone was quite relaxed on stage because they were just having such a great time, but yet they were still so polished. And there was just that trust between them that they knew that, whatever anyone did, even if someone was to get something wrong, I just feel like they have that energy between them that will always pick up and make it better. They're just always, I don't know, just incredible. It's just a really safe space. And I felt that just from the moment I met them, that they were just really welcoming and really supportive. And so I didn't even, like, I felt nervous, but I felt fully supported by them and that they would really help me. Like, obviously, as it was my first show with them, and I'd only had sort of a sound check rehearsal, like, if something was to go wrong, I just knew that they would be really supportive and I wouldn't feel too stressed. It just felt like I could give the best performance that I could and feel encouraged by that.
That's definitely how performance should be, shouldn't it? It should be relaxed and
Yeah.
enjoyable. Sometimes, I don't know if you've been in situations where you're performing where some of the other musicians are a bit stressed and you're like, oh God, this isn't the environment I want to be in. So, do you have any techniques that you use to sort of sustain your mental health and your calm and your relaxation when you've got all of this pressure of performing?
Yeah, I guess it is quite like an intense pressure sometimes. I often find the hardest thing for me is like remembering the lyrics. The actual singing, because I've done it for so long, I don't really feel nervous about that, but it will be like the lyrics that will like stress me out completely before I go on stage. I just have to like do deep breaths, sometimes do like some meditation if I can fit that in, or like physical contact. I love to like hug my band before I go on stage because I just feel that really calms me. Doing things that make me enjoy music, like listening to something that I don't have to learn, just feeling really prepared. I practiced loads with my band. I know that whatever happens, we can figure it out because we're all looking at each other whilst we're performing. We're all like on it. And I think just feeling that zen before I go on is so important because if I'm on stage and I feel stressed from the get-go, then I just know that I'll be like any slight thing that I do, I'll be overly like analytical of it. Whereas if I go into it like this is going to be so much fun, try and change those nervous feelings into excitement, then I feel a lot more comfortable to just sort of give it my all.
So, what is life like at the moment for Zara Britton? What are you up to? Are you still studying? Are you in summer holidays now? Are you coming up to, yeah, what year are you coming up to?
So I'm in my summer holidays currently, and I'm about to start my third year. But I'm very excited because I'm doing a study abroad exchange in Toronto from September to Christmas time. So yeah, I'm like super excited for that because it's like a whole new place, so much new music inspiration. I'm hopefully just gonna like jam as much as I can, meet as many new people, and hopefully bring that inspiration back to the rest of my third year when I come back in January. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. It would be a nice change.
Oh my gosh, what are you going to be up to in Toronto then? Is that a completely different course? Is that different modules you're going to be looking at?
It's sort of like the same course by definition, like it's still jazz with a specialism on voice, but I'm doing things like a vocal jazz ensemble, so it'll be like singing in like a jazz choir, which will be really fun because I haven't done that at my current place. Yeah, I think learning about arranging, so I can arrange for like a big band hopefully, and just sort of meeting new musicians. Like I think I'm getting marked on like my performance with a whole bunch of new musicians, so I'm just really excited to get stuck in and work with new people. And hopefully, when I come back, I'll feel even more confident about just working with people for the first time. Because I think sometimes in jazz, you literally get maybe one rehearsal, sometimes not even a rehearsal. You just go to the gig and everyone, expects you to know the standards, expects you to just follow the band or even lead the band as a singer. Sometimes that can be quite nerve-wracking because I'm always someone that wants to sort of know the musicians beforehand so I feel more comfortable. But I think playing with as many new people as I can will really build my confidence in like approaching a space like that.
Wow, so what has your course been like so far then? Course specializing in jazz. How have you found that?
It's been really cool. I mean, I didn't even know it existed for until maybe 2 years before I applied. It's just very practical, which is the really nice thing because you're still doing some essays about like, the history of jazz because it's really important to know where it all comes from and also like writing essays about like singers that you love. I find that so interesting because I'll like compare Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday and it's like it's really useful for me to learn about that as well. But most of it is like rep classes where you're the whole band, well basically our class is 13 of us, so it's literally like a big band. And so we'll have these rep classes where we'll each take it in turn to like solo over a song, and so you're constantly playing, you're constantly getting inspiration from people around you, you're constantly like learning how to work with other people, and so it's just really enjoyable to sort of go into college and know that I'm just going to perform today, I'm just going to have a jam. And it's just it's nice to like work with other people who can help you out with different strengths. So like I have some friends that are really, really good at the theory and they can help me with that. And then I can help them with like songwriting or something. And it's really nice to sort of pick up on each of our strong points and put that together to make something really cool.
So again, the real importance of collaboration with other musicians and how
Yeah.
collaboration can help lift everyone up. In that, there's no competition. It's just let's all help each other.
Exactly, because I think music can be quite lonely and it can be competitive in many ways. So it's like finding people that just really make you feel comfortable is like the most important thing because if you're playing with a band that you love, then you know you're going to get the best results because you're feeling like yourself the most. That's where you're coming up with your most creative ideas, where you're getting supported after you've done those ideas to then do more of it and trying things new. Like I had a playing session with one of the pianists the other day. And we literally sat in the room and we were like, right, what should we do? We were like, oh, why don't we just improvise a song, a complete free song based off an object in the room? And so we picked like a flipboard and we just spent about 4 minutes like singing, playing, improvising all these weird noises about a flipboard. And it's just like, it's such a fun space to be in because it's so like in the moment, you've got to really be locked in and just really think as creatively as possible.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That's a great, just general like creative songwriting exercise as well there. Do you find that you do a lot of fun exercises like that to help your creativity?
Yeah, I think so. I like to try and, just think outside the box a bit, just because I feel like that will give me the inspiration. If I want to tone it down a bit, then I can do that. I was obviously, improvising in the moment and weird noises, as much free jazz as I could do. If
Mm.
I was going to release that song, I would probably like tone it down just a little bit. But it's good to like test myself to see where in my range I can go and explore new sounds I can make. And then when I'm writing, I can be like, oh, actually, why don't I try singing something out there or something down there? And then it's a bit more like you feel more confident with your voice as an instrument, really.
What is next for you? I know you're going to Toronto, but can we expect to see any new music released from you anytime soon?
Maybe maybe in the new year is what I'm hoping. I've got some songs sort of recorded, they're not finished yet, but there's songs I definitely want to put out, and it's just a case of, planning my release really well. Because obviously whilst I'm away, I want to just be like doing as much music as I can and jamming and really getting those experiences. And then hopefully when I come back and I'm settled, then that would be a time to sort of really push for the next release.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you've got to take full advantage of being in Toronto. What are you most looking forward to about Toronto?
I mean, I'm super excited to be in a big city because I'm currently studying in Cardiff, which is a big city, but Toronto's like London level, isn't it? It's just like there's so much. So I think, exploring, I'm a big foodie. I'm gonna try and, like eat as much cool food as I can. I'm gonna try and jam with as many new people as I can, watch as many gigs as possible. And I think I'm just most excited to just experience a new change because as there is 13 of us on my course currently, it is very like it's very small and very like it's like a family, which is lovely, and I really appreciate the support. But it's also 4 years where you're, with the same people every day. So it's nice to just have that opportunity to go somewhere else, meet new people, especially people that aren't doing, because I'll be at a university, so there'll be people that aren't doing music as well. And maybe, I'll get some inspiration from there as well. But yeah, I think just a bit of change and then coming back, I'll feel a bit more creative because I would have had different inspirations than the usual.
So, are you from Wales originally, or did you move to Wales for university?
I moved for university, so I'm currently in Guildford, which is my hometown.
Ah, okay.
It's nice to have the two. I've got like a quieter town, which is close to London, so I can still do gigs in London, and then study in Cardiff, which is a super lovely city.
Oh, wow. So, what made you decide to move to Cardiff then?
The college itself, I went to visit, and I was not sure whether I was going to go to Liverpool or Cardiff at the time. And I just walked into the space, and you just like feel like, this will suit me, like this feels like where I should be, and I felt like that was calling me, so yeah, I decided to go there, and I'm really happy I did. I think that there's always going to be pros and cons whatever you decide to do, but things feel like they're working out in the right way. Like if I hadn't gone to Cardiff, then I wouldn't have done the PMJ gig. It's just little things like that that lead into each other, and then you're like, oh wow, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah, complete trust in your path and the universe.
Exactly.
We were like that. I'm the same. I'm like, no, I trust in.
It's
in
so funny, isn't it? When you like meet someone and then that connects you to someone else and you'd think about something small that you've done and then you're like, oh wait, but that wouldn't have happened if I didn't do that 5 years ago, if I didn't meet that person. I find it so interesting how that all works out.
So, what has studying in Cardiff been like? What's the Cardiff environment like? Is there much music going on in the city, or is it kind of all contained in the university?
There is quite a lot going in the city. Like we have a lot in the university in the sense of every Friday there's a jazz like performance night, and that's where students like perform for free, which is really nice because it gives us a space to try out new things without worrying about it has to be like the most perfectly polished thing yet. See how the audience responds to it. It could be in original music, it could be just like performing a set of things that you love. We have this audience that come every week. And it's just a really nice space of people that know you and they're like watching your journey as you go through the college and they're really supportive. So that's really nice. But then in the city, you've got like smaller jazz venues. There's like a pub, which has got like a jazz room on the top, which is really cool. And there's just lots of music going on, which is really nice because, sometimes you want to listen to stuff that isn't jazz as well. And you can find, like pop gigs or there's lots of folk. And yeah, it's just a great city, I think. And it's also small enough that's not too overwhelming. Like I think studying in London straight away would have been quite intense for me, but I've sort of had a nice gradual city experience, and then hopefully when I graduate, I can move to London and really go for it with music.
And I think as well, studying outside of London, you get that real campus experience if you study
Mhm.
in London because it's all spread over the place. None of the London colleges are like in one environment. You get sort of a sense of home, I think,
Yeah.
with those campuses. But wow, that's so beautiful. So, where can everybody find Zara Britton online? Because you've got some great social media pages and then on streaming platforms as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so all the streaming platforms you can find my song by any chance. And then on Instagram, it's Zara Britton Official. On TikTok, it's just Zara Britton. And then hopefully I'll get a website made soon as well. So you'll be able to find everything in one place.
Wonderful. Oh, well, thank you so much for your time, Zara. This has been wonderful. And it's so lovely to actually meet you because
Hey.
I see your videos all the time and I'm like, this girl, she's cool.
Oh, likewise, I love your videos. They're so cool.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And yeah, please keep us updated with what you do. And if you do release any more music, please send it my way. And good luck with your journey to Toronto.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.